The moment I posted the comment, my phone started vibrating like it had caught a guilty conscience. I didn't even have time to put it face down before the screen lit up again. And again. And again. Calls stacking. Messages flooding in. The digital equivalent of my family sprinting toward me with pitchforks and Wi-Fi. I leaned back on my couch, stared at the ceiling of my tiny apartment, and thought, wow. So this is what being unforgettable feels like. The comment was simple. Polite even. Happy year-end dinner. Bills are officially your problem now. That was it. No insults. No profanity. No dramatic monologue. Just truth, served cold, with garnish. Across town, my family was probably still clinking glasses under warm lights, laughing into linen napkins, pretending they hadn't built their entire lifestyle on my bank account. I imagined my mother's smile freezing mid-toast. My sister choking, not on food but on accountability. My phone buzzed again. I didn't answer. I just sat there, listening to the heater rattle like it was judging me, realizing something important had finally snapped. I hadn't been forgotten. I'd been edited out. And once you notice that, there's no unseeing it. Let me rewind. My name isn't the one you'd expect. It's Maribel Lane. I design buildings for a living, the kind people admire from the sidewalk, but never think about again. For the past few years, I've also been paying my parents' mortgage. Not helping. Not chipping in. Paying. Every month. On time. Quietly. Like a human autopay feature. They were hosting a family year-end dinner at an upscale restaurant downtown. The kind of place with moody lighting and servers who introduce the water like it's a character in a novel. I wasn't invited. My mother explained it away with her signature tone. The one she used when she wanted to sound reasonable, while doing something deeply unreasonable. Sweetheart, seating is limited. We just want to keep it intimate. Intimate. That word has range. Apparently, it stretches far enough to include cousins, neighbors, co-workers, and a woman my sister once met in a yoga class, but not me. I told myself I didn't care. I told myself I was busy. I told myself I hated crowded dinners anyway. Then I opened my phone. And there it was. A photo posted by my sister Elena. Long table. Soft golden lights. Everyone dressed in coordinated neutrals like they'd rehearsed Unity. Champagne glasses raised. Smiles calibrated. The caption read, "Family only. Finally all together." I stared at it so long my eyes went dry. Family only. All together. Apparently, I had been downgraded from daughter to financial background noise. I laughed out loud. Not because it was funny, but because if I didn't laugh, I'd start screaming, and my neighbors already think I'm weird. So I typed the comment. I hit post. And 5 minutes later, the photo vanished like it had never existed. 10 minutes after that, my phone looked like it was auditioning for a disaster movie. I didn't pick up. I sat there, illuminated by my screen, realizing something else. You don't get excluded overnight. It's a slow process. A quiet one. Death by polite excuses. It had always been like this. Elena was magnetic. Effortlessly adored. She could spill coffee on the floor, and someone would apologize to her. I learned early that my role was different. When we were kids, she brought home messy crafts and got them framed. I brought home achievements and got advice on humility. When the family car died, I wired money. When medical bills appeared, I handled them. When things broke, I fixed them. Not because anyone asked kindly, but because the silence afterward made it clear I was expected to. They didn't call to ask how I was. They called when something needed saving. I told myself that's what love looked like. In hindsight, love shouldn't feel like an invoice. Elena's life wobbled while mine stabilized. She moved back home. She got sympathy. She got protection. I got labeled too busy. Distance became my crime. My father stayed quiet through it all. Silence was his specialty. My mother criticized. My sister absorbed the praise. And I learned that peace in our family meant swallowing discomfort whole. But something changed that night. Because seeing yourself erased in high definition does something to you. It sharpens you. A week before the dinner, my mother called again. Sweet voice, rehearsed concern. She mentioned the dinner. Mentioned the complicated seating. Mentioned how much she loved me. She sounded relieved when I told her to enjoy the night. My sister messaged later. Don't take it personally. That emoji deserved jail time. At work the next day, my colleague Rena noticed I was quiet. She had that rare talent of seeing through denial without being annoying about it. Over coffee she listened. Then she said calmly, "They love the version of you that fixes things." I almost choked on my drink. Because when someone says the truth without drama, it lands harder. That night, I still sent a gift. Wrapped it. Wrote a kind card. Tried to be gracious. It came back unopened with a note that read, "We already have enough." Message received. So when the dinner finally happened, and that photo appeared, something inside me cracked, and rearranged itself into clarity. I wasn't angry. I was done. And that comment? That was just the beginning. The silence didn't last long. Silence never does when it's expensive. The very next week, I did something radical. Something unthinkable. Something that would later be described, by my family, as cruel, heartless, and completely unnecessary. I stopped paying the mortgage. No announcement. No dramatic email. No, we need to talk. I simply didn't send the money. For years, my account had released that payment every month like a loyal soldier. No diles. No questions. No thank you notes. The bank probably thought I lived in that house, drank tea on the porch, and waved at neighbors. I didn't even live in the same city. The first few days were quiet. Suspiciously quiet. Like the pause before thunder. Then midweek, my phone lit up. Mom. The bank called. They say there's an issue. Did something change? I stared at the message for a full minute. Something did change. My patience. I didn't reply. A few hours later. Mom. They said it's urgent. Please call when you can. Urgent. Her favorite word. Urgent meant you are about to ruin my life by not saving it. Still, I didn't respond. By the end of the week, my sister joined the choir. Elena. Hey, Mom's really stressed. If something's wrong, you should tell us. Us. Interesting how us only shows up when money is involved. That weekend, she posted online. A vague quote. Naturally. Some people forget who sacrificed for them. No names. No details. Just enough bait for sympathy to swarm. And swarm it did. You're so strong. Family can be so ungrateful. Stay kind. I nearly applauded. The performance was flawless. 3 days later, reality escalated. An envelope arrived. From the bank. With my name on it. That's when my stomach dropped. Not in a dramatic way, but in the slow, quiet way you realize the ground beneath you has been lying. I opened it. Read the first page. Then read it again. Then sat down because my legs forgot how chairs worked. My name was listed as a guarantor. Not just on the original loan. On a refinance. A recent one. A much larger one. I laughed once. Loud. Sharp. The kind of laugh that scares even you. Because here's the thing. I never signed anything. Never agreed to new terms. Never approved a refinance. Never even discussed it. Which meant only one thing. They didn't just take my money. They took my identity. I called the bank. After being transferred enough times to qualify for frequent flyer miles, a calm voice finally answered. He introduced himself as the account manager. I asked him to walk me through the refinance. He did. Dates. Authorizations. Digital signatures. All mine. Except not mine. The authorization matches previous records, he said carefully. That word matches. Felt like a slap. Someone had reused my credentials. My access. My trust. I thanked him politely, hung up, and sat there staring at the paperwork spread across my table like evidence at a crime scene. Because that's what it was. A crime scene. And suddenly the year-end dinner made sense. The smiles. The coordination. The confidence. They weren't celebrating family. They were celebrating getting away with it. At least they thought they were. That night, my mother's messages kept coming. We need to talk. You're being unreasonable. You're tearing this family apart. Classic deflection. Textbook, really. I didn't respond. Instead, I printed everything. Every document. Every authorization code. Every timestamp. The stack grew thick. Heavy. Final. And as I clipped it all together, something unexpected happened. I didn't feel scared. I felt clear. For years, I'd been their safety net. Now I understood. I wasn't a daughter to them anymore. I was collateral. And the moment I saw that, the game changed. The first lawyer I called didn't answer. The second put me on hold so long I had time to question every life choice that led me here, including my brief obsession with indoor plants. The third one picked up immediately. His name was Calvin Moore, and his voice had the calm, surgical precision of someone who had seen families destroy each other over less than a sofa. I told him everything. He didn't interrupt. Didn't gasp. Didn't offer sympathy in that syrupy way people do when they don't know what to say. When I finished, there was a pause. Then he said, "This isn't a misunderstanding. This is fraud." I closed my eyes. Hearing it out loud did something strange. It didn't hurt. It clarified. Calvin explained my options: formal dispute, account freeze, civil action. He used words like forgery, misrepresentation, liability transfer. Each term felt like a brick placed between me and the version of myself who used to excuse everything. When the call ended, I sat very still. Then my phone buzzed. Mom calling. I let it ring. Again. And again. Eventually, a voicemail landed. Her voice was tight, sharp around the edges. "The bank is asking questions. What did you do?" I smiled. Not because it was funny, but because for the first time, she didn't sound in control. I didn't call back. Instead, I sent Calvin the documents. And then I waited. 2 days later, my sister texted, "Elena, can we talk? Just us. No drama." No drama. That phrase always meant prepare for emotional gymnastics. We agreed to meet for brunch. Public place. Neutral ground. Witnesses. I arrived early, chose a table by the window, and ordered coffee. Black. No sugar. It felt appropriate. They arrived together. My mother looked immaculate. Perfect hair. Perfect coat. The uniform of someone who believes appearance can rewrite history. My father looked smaller somehow, like gravity had finally noticed him. Elena slid into the seat across from me, smiling too fast. "This has all gotten blown out of proportion," she said before the menus even arrived. I waited. Mom sighed. Theatrically. "We were just trying to keep things together," she said. "The house, the family, everything." I reached into my bag and placed the folder on the table. It made a sound when it landed. Solid. Unignorable. "You refinanced the house," I said. Calmly. Using my identity. Silence. Real silence. The kind that doesn't rush to fill itself. Elena spoke first. "That can't be right." I slid one page across the table. My name. My signature. A date I didn't recognize. Mom's fingers tightened around her cup. Dad stared at the table like it might open and swallow him. "You didn't think I'd notice?" I asked. Not accusatory. Just curious. Mom's voice dropped. "We didn't think it would matter. You were already helping." Ah, there it was. Helping. That word again. The one they used to make exploitation sound noble. "You stole from me," I said. "Elena Bristlet." That's dramatic. I laughed. I couldn't help it. A short, sharp sound that startled even me. "What would you call it?" I asked. "If someone used your identity to secure a loan you didn't approve." No one answered. I stood. "I've filed a dispute," I said. "The account is frozen. Lawyers are involved." My mother's face cracked. Not completely, but enough. "You do this to family?" I looked at her. "You did this to me first." I paid my share of the bill, left a generous tip, because unlike them, I respect service, and walked out. My hands shook only after the door closed behind me. That night, the messages exploded. Accusations. Guilt. Rage disguised as concern. "You're ruining us. How could you be so selfish? After everything we've done for you." I muted the thread. For the first time in my life, I chose silence. Not as submission, but as strategy. And in that quiet, something else arrived. Relief. Consequences don't announce themselves. They don't knock politely or send a calendar invite. They just arrive. Quietly. Relentlessly. Like overdraft notifications with better timing. The first crack showed up in my inbox. A short, professional message from the bank confirming the account freeze. No emojis. No soft language. Just facts, cold, clean, irreversible. I reread it twice. Then I laughed. Not a joyful laugh. More like the kind you make when you realize the roller coaster is already moving and screaming won't help. By midweek, my mother's tone shifted. Gone was the outrage. In its place came fragility. Sweetheart, she wrote. Your father hasn't been sleeping. A yes. The emotional support insomnia card. I didn't respond. The next message came from Elena. Longer this time. Paragraphs. Bullet points of feelings. Strategic vulnerability sprinkled with accusation. She wrote about stress. About pressure. About how things just spiraled. She ended it with, "We never meant to hurt you." That sentence deserves an award for most creative use of passive voice. I still didn't reply. Instead, I met Calvin again. He slid another document across the table. This one heavier, thicker, smelling faintly of legal inevitability. The refinance is officially flagged, he said. The liability is being reassigned. I exhaled for what felt like the first time in years. What happens to them? I asked. He paused. Lawyers always pause before answering that question. They'll have to answer for it. That was enough. The family image unraveled faster than I expected. Apparently, when you stop paying for the illusion collapses. The house, their house, went quiet. The lights stopped coming on at night. The neighbors noticed. They always do. Elena moved out first. I heard through the grapevine that she was staying with a friend. Which is adult code for sleeping on a couch and pretending it's temporary. Her social media went dark. No more curated warmth. No more family captions. Silence is loud when you're used to applause. Then came the voicemail from my mother. You didn't have to destroy us. I almost admired the audacity. She never mentioned the forged documents. Never mentioned the lies. Just the outcome. As if consequences materialize out of thin air like bad weather. I deleted it. Winter settled in. I moved. New apartment. New city. Smaller space. More light. Every box I unpacked belonged to me. No history attached. No debt hiding in the corners. For the first time, my phone stayed quiet. No emergencies. No requests. No guilt disguised as love. One afternoon, another email arrived. The case was closed. My name officially removed. Responsibility reassigned where it belonged. I sat at my kitchen table, coffee cooling beside me, and felt something unfamiliar. Peace. It wasn't loud. It didn't celebrate. It just stayed. I thought about the year-end dinner photo sometimes. The smiles. The coordination. The lie. Funny thing about images, they can't hold weight. Truth can. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't carrying anyone else's. Spring arrived quietly, like it didn't want to get involved. By then, the dust had settled. The legal kind, the emotional kind, and the kind that forms when people finally stop pretending nothing happened. I didn't hear much from my family anymore. Which, honestly, was the loudest apology they were capable of. The house, the one I'd paid for but never lived in, was no longer theirs. The bank took it back with the efficiency of an organization that doesn't accept emotional explanations. The lawn went wild. The porch light stayed off. The place looked smaller without the story wrapped around it. I drove past once. Not to mourn. Just to confirm reality. It felt like driving past a movie set after filming wraps. Same structure. No meaning. Elena disappeared from public view entirely. No quotes. No captions. No vague posts about strength. When you stop performing, the audience moves on fast. My mother called one final time. Her voice was thin, brittle. You didn't have to take it this far. I almost laughed. I didn't, I said. You did. She had no response to that. Funny how silence sounds different when it's earned. My new apartment didn't impress anyone, which was exactly why I loved it. Second-hand furniture. Windows that caught the afternoon light. No shared accounts. No emergency funds masquerading as love. I cooked for myself. Burned a few meals. Ate cereal for dinner more than once. Slept without my phone buzzing beside me like a loaded weapon. One evening, while unpacking a drawer, I found an old family photo. All of us smiling in front of that same house. We looked happy, or at least practiced. I stared at it for a long moment, then slid it back into the envelope. Some things belong to the past, not because they're painful, but because they're finished. Here's the truth no one teaches you. Walking away doesn't always feel powerful in the moment. Sometimes it feels quiet, awkward, empty. But then one day you realize the emptiness isn't loss. It's space. Space to breathe. Space to choose. Space to exist without being useful. I didn't rebuild my life with revenge or triumph. I rebuilt it with boundaries. And they cost me everything I was never meant to carry. Peace, it turns out, is expensive. But it's the best thing I've ever paid for. Please click the subscribe button, like, share, and comment. This will encourage me to make more interesting stories. Also, let's know where you are watching from. Thank you and see you in the next story.